Good morning, everybody. It's good to see you all. Everybody who's joining us online as well, we welcome you into this space. So glad that you're here. Yesterday we had our mastermind and manifestation gathering, and those who were not able to be there in person but were there in spirit, thank you. Thank you for that. I figured you probably were, Mickey. You were there. This is the song, though, that kind of got everything started yesterday. And I really believe that we have a tremendous opportunity before us, First Unity, right here, right now. We really do. And everything that's happening is really perfect if we would just allow ourselves to sit in the beauty of what is taking place instead of trying to change what's happening. Accept what is as it is, and know that it's working out for our greatest good. So if you would repeat that after me. I accept what is as it is because it's working out for my greatest good. And the message I kept getting yesterday was we are under an open heaven. And the visualization is, when we say we're under an open heaven, is to look up, and that's fine that we can look up. But I think we all know that consciousness, the universe, the beauty of what we experience in our spiritual walk is that there's really no up or down, no in or out. It's just all around us, in us. Life is not happening to me, it's happening through me and for me. And isn't that a beautiful thing? But here's an open heaven song. I feel the rain of love and the wind of the Spirit. Now the heartbeat of heaven, let us hear. I feel the rain of love and the wind of the Spirit. Now the heartbeat of heaven, let us hear it and let it rain. Let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven and let it rain. Let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven. I feel the rain of love and the wind of the Spirit. Now the heartbeat of heaven, I think I hear it. I feel the rain of love and the wind of the Spirit and the heartbeat of heaven. I can hear it. So let it rain. Let it rain. I hear it. Let it rain. Let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven. Let it rain. Let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven. We're under an open heaven. Everywhere there's a blessing. The heartbeat of heaven. said we're open, we're under an open heaven. Everywhere I look, there's blessings. The heartbeat of heaven, giving us all direction. We let it rain. Let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven. Let it rain. Let it rain. Open the floodgates of heaven and let it rain. Barb is going to come now. I know your last name is Berger, but I like to call you Destiny. Barb Destiny is going to come now and share a sacred reading as well as our meditation.
Visiting my aunt this week. She turned 88. Last year, she tripped over her cat Bubba going out into the patio. She turned around suddenly, and there the cat was. And she fell. She broke her neck. She had a rod from the barbecue impale her head. She severed her esophagus. She could never eat or drink again. I saw her right after in the nursing home about a year ago. And my sister and I, we really didn't have much hope. So she's back home, living independently. So this has been about a year of rehab. So I hadn't gone to see her. She lives in Fort Myers. I was carrying around a bit of guilt about that. I don't know, busy doing stuff, taking care of my stuff. And I kept thinking, I gotta go down there. And it wasn't easy to go. So I made the decision, I had one day off this week, I'm gonna go. My husband was gonna come with me, but he fell off a tree onto his back. So he is injured. So he didn't want me to go because I don't drive a lot. I'm not a driver. And I said, no, I'm going. So I went to get gas, and I went back into my car. I looked down, and there was a penny. And the penny was 2007. And that's when my aunt's husband died. And so I knew, wow, I'm going, Uncle Bill. I'm going to go see Pat. So that's how it started. Okay, so when I called her to see, when would be a good time and all, and that I was coming, she said, oh, Barb, I have nothing to offer you. All I have to offer is my presence. When she said those words, I'm like, I just heard the word of God. I said, that's all I want. I said, we're going to sit in each other's presence. And so those words told me, I got to share this Sunday. So the cat ended up dying a few weeks after she had gotten home, Bubba. And my aunt told me he would sit 5 feet away from her, just looking at her. And she said, he felt guilty. I said, wow. And she says, yes, he died from the guilt because he wasn't old. And I said, oh my God. And I said, I just had to share with her. I said, I felt guilty because it took me so long to get here and see you. She goes, oh my God. She goes, I felt guilty because I had nothing to offer you. And she said, right now, let's just realize guilt's going to kill us if we carry around guilt, just like Bubba. And I said, yes, amen to that. So let's see. So this is interesting. My aunt never blamed Bubba for the fall. She said, he was just doing what we always did. He followed me out, and I turned abruptly. So the cat was always behind her. And she said, that was what he did. So Bubba definitely held on to that experience and ended up dying. So on a more inspiring note, she was happy to be alive and be home. And like I said, she can't eat or drink ever. She feeds herself into a tube. And you know what she said to me? She said, I never liked to cook anyways. How's that for a positive mental attitude? I said, that's true. And she was a little heavier. She was like a little round like me. And she said, I always wanted to be skinny. And now she's skinny. What do you know? No donuts, right? And she said, I'm just grateful to be alive. And that's the bottom line. So with that, I'm going to lead us right into the meditation. Yeah, so everyone get comfortable. Close your eyes if you like. And we're going to feel our presence. We're going to drop into our presence. Because really, that's all we have. The presence of God in us, all around us. God goes before us and behind us. There is no reason to fear. Feel your presence right now. Feel everyone's presence in this room. Because that's all we have. God gave us this alive, breathing, feeling presence. We can share our presence. Our eyes share our presence. Even with nothing else, we can share our soul. And we can feel it. We can feel others' souls connecting on this earthly plane. Be thankful that we can swallow. We can drink clean water. Be thankful in our movement, however that movement may be. Until we lose something that we're used to. We don't really know how very important it is. Our sight, our hearing, our body, how it functions without even thinking about it. Until we lose something. So let's be grateful for every little thing, every little drink of water, every person we see on our path today. Just be thankful we're here, sharing our presence. Open the floodgates of heaven. Let it rain, feeling every drop. Take a nice deep breath, that breath of life. Our presence is in our breath. And slowly, slowly, start to feel your body come back to the seat. Maybe open and close your hands a little bit. And when you're ready, get ready to really feel your presence today at this beautiful First Unity service, and open your eyes. Namaste. Yeah. Love you.
Thank you, Barb. Thank you so much for sharing your heart with us. I love the simplicity and the genuineness of it. So thank you so much. Everybody smile at me. What an interesting season we're in. But you know what? I'll tell you something. I think times like these really get us to focus on what matters, what really matters. And to me, I'll say this to you all. I've said this to you before, that I'm kind of shifting some of my talk, because I've been saying for a long time that we're not in trouble, we're in transition, which I realized was like possibly keeping us in transition. Like, because we were all affirming together, we're in transition, woo! And it's like, the universe goes, cool, all right, transition means you keep moving from place to place. So we shifted that a little bit, and we've said, we're not in trouble, we've been in transition, and we're preparing to transplant into the garden we're supposed to bloom in, all right, into the space that we're supposed to be in. So we've been saying that, and also, I have also shifted in how I talk about location, because you've all heard me say, I don't care if we do this out at the beach, I'm good with whatever, and in truth I am, but I also know that air condition is nice. So when we spent some time together yesterday in Manifestation and Mastermind, we were specific. We got into details about what it is that we are looking for. So we are being very detailed. Universe, thank you. God, angels, all of the, because lately it's been like, listen, we'll pray. We'll say, in Jesus' name, and Allah, Tom Cruise, Oprah Winfrey, who can we call on? No, but we've been really deciding that we're going to be specific and detailed, and I want you to know that tomorrow, Tuesday at the latest, we are supposed to, it looks like, I'm like 90%. One of the reasons I'm being a little general is because until we actually sign documents, I want us to be careful about saying anything. I don't want to have to backtrack on you. But it looks like we'll be set for the summer as of Monday, tomorrow, or Tuesday at the latest, okay? And as soon as we are, we will let you know by email, by Facebook, by text. If you've not signed up for the text, consider doing that. If you have not signed up for the newsletter, please consider doing that. The location is in St. Pete. So for anybody who's wondering, it is St. Pete. Somebody say St. Pete. All right. And it's a beautiful location, and the air condition works. I went the other day to tour it, and I was actually cold, and I'm never cold, you know. It's one of the reasons I shaved my head, so that I could be less warm. But Derek, you understand what I'm talking about, Derek? And Steve, you understand? All right. This is technically the conclusion of our Keys to the Kingdom, Queendom series. We've been in that book study, and it's been an interesting book study because it's been sort of inviting us into a different way of thinking. See, that's the way I see that our biggest issue is that I think it's not just about mastering the mind, but learning how to partner with the mind to bring all of your being into alignment with the truth of what you want. Because if we spend too much of our time thinking about conquering the mind, we can get to the place where we want to make it our slave, and then it's going to rebel. So this is about a partnership. Somebody say, I'm in partnership with all of my faculties to create the life I want. And this is so that it doesn't create any kind of level of tension. It doesn't create any kind of level of angst or fear or anxiety or stress. I want to live a life that says I'm too blessed to be stressed. And I'm too blessed to be, anyway, I mentioned that a few weeks ago. I'm blissing out all the time. I'm choosing bliss over other things. But technically this was the 7th chapter of the book, but the 9th part of the series, because we started a couple of weeks early to set the stage. And I loved the title of this chapter. It's one of my favorite things. And the title of the chat today is Live in the Flow. And I think that's really what this chapter was about. How many of you read the book or you were a part of one of the book studies? So Live in the Flow was the title, or at least it was the theme. And I'm a live in the flow kind of person. Like, I don't believe in concretizing anything. There's enough concrete in the world. I believe in fluidity and flexibility and living in the flow. And so as I was sitting with this, man, what kept coming to mind was that I spent too much of my time trying to be, striving to succeed, working to achieve, performing to reach some level of value. And this is what I think is actually stifling that process for me. Now, it may not be for you, but what has stifled it for me is this really essentially a belief that I'm not enough. That I have to do something else so that I can feel better about myself. I need to achieve some other level so that I can be okay. And really what I'm doing is, as I'm begging for external compliments to create my completion. I can't feel complete without external compliments. And what happens is that makes you a slave to whatever voices happen to be complimenting you. And here's the problem, is that when the compliments change to criticism, now you're in a whirlwind of confusion, chaos, pain, because I need you to say I'm okay. I spent most of my life as a performer. When I was 3-4 years old, my dad would put us up on folding chairs, or whatever he could stand us up on. He would play his guitar and we would all sing together. And I realized that my dad, he needed us to perform well because he had such a vacancy in his own value and in his own worth. And when we couldn't perform, or we didn't perform because we would rather play, we would get in all kinds of trouble. But listen, for the longest, that was trauma for me. It was like all of the other kids were out around playing, and we had to sing for hours on end. Because when we would sing, people would compliment. And when people complimented, my dad would take that as his currency for his own emotional space, his own vacancies within. See, I lived in the trauma of that until I realized there was a certain level of that brought healing to him, that even at 3 or 4 years old, I was helping to heal my dad. But it hurt me at the time, and until I decided to drop that off, I remained a performer, and as long as I was performing, I was always stressing out about sermons, stressing out about singing the notes right, stressing out about showing up and making sure that people were happy with me. And this invaded every part of my life. All of my relationships became built on making sure the other person was okay, even at the expense of my own okayness. Does that make sense?
And this is what many of us do. And then we trauma bond with other people who have done the very same thing. Our society has built this into us. Religion has supported it and reinforced it because it also told us that God needed you to perform a particular way in order for you to get into heaven, and the alternative was hell. But we've been living in hell because that's not real. That's all a lie. It's not the truth. I've learned to live in the flow. And so I wrote some things down. Of course I did, because since Easter of 24, I've been writing every day, something. I don't know what it's going to turn into. I kept saying it's going to turn into a book, but then every time I start to get in my ego about a book, or I start to feel like that's another level of performance, I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'm writing this for me. Maybe one day we'll compile it. Living in the flow. Somebody say, I'm living in the flow. Listen to these words and see where they land for you. The key, because we're keys of the kingdom and queendom, the key to stop wanting is to start being. See if you can feel that in your being. The key to stop wanting is to start being. And this is what started to flood my soul because that phrase ran around in my head, really started last Sunday after our service here. What a powerful Easter service. What an amazing vibration. What followed it was, in being, you already have everything you could ever want. So the key is to stop wanting and start being, because in being you already have everything you'll ever want. Please hear this, because this, I'm talking about, juices my soul. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. That realization starts to shift everything in your life. Because when we understand that the vastness of God and the greatness of God is insurmountable, beyond measure, omnipotent, all-powerful, omnipresent, never not present, and that Spirit is always present with us, never in absence from us, that we have access to that amazing ocean, we realize that we are of that very same substance. And as a result of that, we start to realize the universe is abundant. And if I'm of it, I am also abundant. Somebody say, I'm abundant, just as God is abundant. Because I'm like God. Look at your neighbor, if you will, and look at them and say, oh my God, you look like God to me. You're the best looking God I've ever seen, oh my God. Now, see, people in religion will think that's blasphemy. John, you can't say that. Too late, I already did. It's like a friend of mine who flew into communist China, and he started back out of the airport, and he decided to do something crazy, because you'd have to know this guy, he's really crazy. He grabbed this intercom mic that would sound out all over the airport and started singing Amazing Grace to the top of his lungs. And of course, the police come and they get him, and they tell him as they walk up to him, you can't do that. And he said, too late, I already did. So that's what I'm saying to you. We think it's blasphemous. We've been told it's blasphemous. But even the Bible itself says in Psalm 82:6 that ye are gods. You are gods, because you're children of the Most High God. You are the offspring of God. My surname is Scott because my dad's name was Scott. And once a Scotsman, always a Scotsman. I was born and given that name. Therefore, everybody around me knows me as a Scott. And if you were born of God, then everyone around you should know you as a God. You are a divine entity that is just waiting to express the divinity in the world. You're not missing anything. Look at somebody and say, I'm not missing anything. I have everything. I am everything. The universe is me, and I am the universe. Showing up in this form, but of the same formula. the same substance. You see, you take water and you put water in this bottle and it takes the shape of the bottle, but it's not the bottle. You take the same kind of water, H2O, and you pour it into a pool. And although it's more quantity, it's still not the pool, it's water. So I'm saying to you, what is on the inside of you, animating the outside of you, is of God essence. And just because you're in this vessel that may seem limited, you're still divine. Does that make sense to anybody? All right. So this realization starts to shift your life. It means that everything you seek, love, joy, peace, prosperity, abundance, it's not out there waiting to be found. It's already within you because you are it. Pat yourself on the chest and say, I am it. Now get some attitude and say, I am it. See, I'm all of that in a bag of chips on the side if you want. Kettle cooked, preferably. I'm already that. The universe lacks nothing, therefore I lack nothing. But here's what's happening. What's happening in our world, and sometimes keeping us from being in the flow, is that we are experiencing a lot of ridiculousness. Can I get an amen from somebody? But can I tell you that the ridiculousness that we are experiencing is creating renaissance and reformation, leading to transformation and resurrection? Can I make that declaration? I've decided to be a prophetic problem in our world and continue to say that the ridiculousness is leading to renaissance, that the chaos is revealing creativity, that the unbelievable is beginning to press us into our faith. The principalities that demand we live our principles. Because many of us have said it, but now we're being pushed to use it. And we wouldn't use it if we all, come on. We would talk it until we need to use it. And so the world outside is pressing us through what seems to be unbelievable. I don't know about you, but I look around and I go, oh my God, that's hard to believe. That's unbelievable. How many of you found yourself saying that lately? Some kind of a news thing comes up. That's unbelievable. The unbelievable is perfect because it's the backdrop. It's that black curtain that makes this yellow bounce. Can I get a witness from somebody? The backdrop of chaos is what is causing the creativity to become more apparent to us. Don't get lost in what's happening in the world. Stay in the flow of the truth of who you are. And even all that's going on. I don't normally talk like this on the 8:30 service. Anyway, maybe it's because I don't have my seat today. I don't know. I was trying to look for a stool. I was like, maybe I should settle down. Y'all, everybody good? Live streamers, y'all okay? Okay. They're like, who is this guy? Anyway. And even all of this is helping to teach us to learn how to live in the flow. To live in the flexibility and allow that flow to come to us, for us, through us, and ultimately as us. You are a divine being, not because you prayed the right prayer or joined the right church or spiritual community. You just simply are of divine substance. And so a quick review. Let's go back over because this is key number 7, and it's just being. Somebody say just be. Just be. Say just be and then exhale. Just be. See, that's kind of what nirvana, I think it's funny because the word nirvana, which we've all thought is the Buddhist heaven, and I guess for some parts of the Buddhist tradition, they would say yes. Nirvana means to blow out, but I like to say that the American version of nirvana is yeah, to finally let go, to just release it and let go. So here's the affirmation, and I'll ask you to repeat. I've got you repeating after me today. I don't know what this is. Maybe I need some help preaching. Life is not happening to me. Life is happening for me and through me. Because see, even when I'm facing circumstances that I don't like, I look back over my life And I see that those times that I felt like were going to break me actually did the opposite. They helped to make me. They helped to reveal me. The pressure that's put on the grapes prepares the grapes to become wine that's so fine. And the process that it goes through in letting go of its old formula is what makes it intoxicating. The process that you're going through is what will cause your energy to gather in around other people and will literally shift the way they walk and the way they talk, just like wine does. It will shift the way they show up and the way they see, because your energy will also become an influence, and they'll be under the influence of the divine. So the final key to the kingdom is it's not just another step that we take, but it's the key that unlocks a new and a higher way or state of being. I am choosing to live fully my divine nature. So number one, we said to make the commitment. And I think I really focused more in the talk part of that on making a decision. Once you make a decision, things start to line up for you. Your decision becomes decisive, and your decision determines your precision. It makes you more precise. Number two, hold the vision. But remember, we said hold the vision loosely in terms of how it produces in your life. Because I want to be concentrated on the what, but I don't know the how. We said let God do what God does, didn't we? We said if you're going to hold the vision, you hold the how loosely. You just focus on the what. God is what produces. God is the energy that produces the how. Number three, know the truth. Know it, not just believe it, know it in your knowing, in the deepest part of your knowing. And number four was to circulate the good. We even talked about this some last week, about how we give our good away. And number five was to forgive the past. Forgive the past, and when you do that, you begin to live in a higher level of understanding, and then you'll get to the place where you don't need to forgive anymore because you have a high level of understanding. Forgiveness becomes a non-essential in your life, because even before somebody does something that you dislike, you have learned to live in the space of love and in higher understanding so much that your compassion is automatically showing up and saying, they know not what they do. So I'm not needing to forgive. I'm actually asking the universe. This is what Jesus does when Jesus is on the cross and he says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Can you imagine being at such a high state of a high state of divinity, that while you're hanging on a cross, been tortured and spit on by the people below you, you actually advocate for them? Think about this. You advocate for them because you realize in that Christ consciousness that if they knew better, they would. And so you ask for the expansion by asking the universe to forgive because you understand. That's pretty powerful. And number six, we said, live with gratitude by counting your blessings. Last week, we talked about counting your blessings. I knew this minister one time that he stayed so stressed out in a portion of his ministry that every day he would make a list of what was worth living for and why he should no longer live, and carried a loaded 38 on him every day for 5 years, making the list of what was worth living for and whether or not he should die. And he said the day he decided, the day that the list for reasons to die was bigger than his list of blessings, was when he would take his life. He's still alive. Because every single day when he was honest, the list for the reasons to live was so much bigger than the reasons to die. I'm telling you, there are times we need to count our blessings, if nothing else, just to want to continue to live, because our world can get crazy sometimes. Now, when we're learning to live in the flow, we start to realize that when we're living in the flow, we find ourselves living in the natural flow of abundance because we're accessing all of these other spaces within us. We've made the commitment. We have decided to live the principles. We've decided to hold the vision and not let anybody else take that vision from you. And I think we mentioned, if we didn't, let me share with you, that you should not tell everybody your vision. There are some people you don't need to share your vision with. You don't need to blab it everywhere, because there's some folks who will not support it. They'll think you're crazy. They'll think you're out of your mind. You know how many times I've been told I'm crazy and out of my mind? Well, I mean, I know it's about true, but I go out of my mind at least once a day. But be careful who you're sharing your vision with. Sometimes even your spouse can't handle it. So be really mindful to hold that vision within your own self. The magic happens not in holding materially what I'm manifesting. The magic happens when I'm fully aware that nothing is outside of my reach, because the universe is abundant. Therefore, I am also abundant. Now, there's two final words that become very important in this series, and those words are I am. And what I follow, the I am with, affects and or infects my life. You've heard this before, but I want you to think about this. How many times in a day do you say I am and then follow it with something that you really don't want to see manifest? How many times in a day? Think about it, because if you haven't thought about this, here's the thing. If you are what you think about, then when's the last time you stopped to think about what you're thinking about? Because what you're thinking about is turning into words. And what you're saying, you're declaring in your life. So I'm very mindful of what I'm not fearful, mindful, aware, conscious. Some people get afraid with science of mind over the years teaching about what we're saying. Our words are so powerful that people would get all judgmental. I don't know if you've met those folks before. If you say my body's not feeling well right now, they're like, oh, no, don't make that confession. If you do, you're going to die. Don't make that confession. So I'm not talking about in a fearful way, but becoming mindful. Notice that I don't say I am sick. I never say I am sick. I will say my body is sick. My body's experiencing a health challenge. And people will say, well, that's just semantics. And I said, well, no, it's a system that works for me. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. But I will always say, this body is not feeling well, but I got to tell you, I am well. See, I am well is a declaration that is, I am declaring the happening of the divine into that situation. And some people will say, again, that's semantics, but I say it's systems. If you don't spell words, they'll put a spell on you. And so here we go. I'm going to ask you to talk some more today. Somebody say, oh my God. Install these affirmations. And here's the thing. You may not remember all of these today. They'll be a part of the blog tomorrow, but they also will be on our YouTube channel archived. But I suggest using these. If you find your old doubts and your fears resurfacing, especially with what's happening in the world right now, because we had people telling us we're crazy to talk about abundance and prosperity while the stock market's doing what it's doing. And I said, there's no better time than to remind us to not put much stock in the market. Does that make sense? Put your stock, as Jesus said, put up your treasures in heaven where it cannot be destroyed. Here's the affirmation. If you find those old doubts and fears coming back, resurfacing, declare, I am committed to revealing all of God in my life. Repeat that after me. I am committed to revealing all of God in my life. In other words, I'm not just coming to church to hear some stuff and kind of get tickled a little bit and sort of just have my night out on the town or my day out on the town. That I'm really diving into the revelation of God in every part of my life. Not just in my mind, but in my whole being. I'm believing that I can access abundance and prosperity and well-being and happiness and joy and love and peace because I am that. I am that. That is what I am. So I always have access to it. And I'm committed to the revelation of God in all of my life, all of my relationships, all of my activities. And number two, when you feel like you've lost your way, you're facing problems or challenges that concern you, worry you, stress you out, go back to your vision and affirm, I am this vision of wholeness. right here, and right now. So repeat this after me. I am this vision of wholeness right here, right now. If you find yourself experiencing lack and limitation, declare boldly, I am relying on the truth that God is my source right here and right now. If you will, repeat that after me. I am relying on the truth that God is my source right here, right now. So when you tithe in your time and your talent and your treasure and you support acts of good and support acts of God, when you support with your giving and your affirmations, make this your affirmation. I am living in the flow and circulation of God's rich abundance right here and right now. Repeat that after me. I am living in the flow and circulation of God's rich abundance right here, right now. Now, please understand, some people will say this is a prosperity gospel, but you have to understand that we've already defined that prosperity and abundance is not about how many planes you have, what kind of cars you drive, how many houses you have, how much money you have in the bank. Prosperity and abundance is about you fulfilling your purpose, your dharma, and your destiny in this world and not having to worry about it as you do it. Does that make sense? So it's not about being billionaires. This is the problem. A lot of people think that prosperity and abundance is about how much money you have. Money has no power except the power you give it. And it's not about you having a bunch of stuff. It's about you possessing the truth of who you are. That's really what prosperity and abundance is. Oh, Lord. All right. When you feel hurt, you feel angry, forgive yourself in the situation by saying, I am love, and I release this with love right here and right now. Repeat that after me. I am love. And I release this with love right here, right now. As you start to notice the good that blesses your life every day, bless it back. As you start to notice the good that blesses your life every day, bless it back. And here's how we do that. I am grateful for all that I have and all that is coming to me right here and right now. Repeat that after me. I am grateful for all that I have and all that is coming to me right here, right now. And always remember, my friends, always remember that God desires and is pleased to give you the keys to access this kingdom and this queendom that's within you. God is not mad at you. God is not angry at you. God's not holding a grudge against you. Religion does, but God doesn't. One of the things that really rattled my cage years ago, and in such a wonderful way, I've told you the story of I recorded TBN broadcast in the evenings when I started pastoring my first church because I found out quickly that you had to have more than 5 good sermons if you were going to pastor a church. Because we had church on Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. Do the math. Do the math. I was done with 3 of those 5 within the first week. So I had to plagiarize like lawyers and preachers do. Not really, but I started watching other preachers. They'd be preaching, and I'd kind of be listening, and then they'd say a line, and that was it. That's all I needed. And off to the races I'd go. And then I'd build a sermon from a line. Well, in one of those recordings, I had a VCR. I was looking around to see how many young folks in the house, a VCR. You remember those? Those were the days. Back when you had rotary phones, right? Back when you were horse and buggy. Anyway, I had a VCR, and I recorded the last message that Carlton Pearson ever did on the TBN station. And he used to host a show, because Carlton was one of the bigger-than-life preachers in the United States and in the world. My personal mentor. He became that later. But this was the last sermon that I saw. And in that sermon, he made a declaration that it took me forever to really start to understand and embody. He said, God is not mad at you. And if God is not mad at the world, then why are Christians so mad at the world? If God's not angry, then who do you think you are to be angry? And he followed it with saying, God's a holy God. And he said, and in all his humor that he would say, and I know there ain't many of y'all very holy. And if God's holy and you're not, why are you so angry and God's not angry? And then he followed it with saying, you will never be free from sin until you know you are free to sin and still be loved by God and advocated by Christ. He said, you'll never be free from it until you know you are free to do it, all of it, and still be loved by God and advocated by Christ. And those powerful lines began to wake up something inside of me that led me down the road that I have continued to travel. And have come to realize that God is not mad. It is the good pleasure of God that his children, all of us, have keys, access to this kingdom and queendom that's on the inside of us. I wish above all things, my brothers and sisters, that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. And it is the desire of the divine for you to experience the same. I'm going to ask you to take a moment as we start to bring this time to conclusion. I want to do this here, almost kind of like a meditation. And so Nick is going to throw in a little background music. And I just want to read to you, as your eyes are closed, this thing that just came out. I feel like it was a download. It just rushed through, and I put it on, I was going to say put it on paper, but it's digital. I put it on the tablet. And it opens with this. And this was a message for you, for me, and I share it with you. If you talk to yourself like this, you will have everything you want. Imagine for a moment that you are the universe. Not just a part of it, but the whole thing. Every star, every galaxy, every blade of grass, every breath of wind. You are the vast, infinite dance of energy. The eternal play of light and shadow. And yet here you are. Here you are in this moment, hearing these words and thinking, what does this have to do with me? What does this have to do with me getting what I want? But that's the question, isn't it? What do you really want? And more importantly, who is the you that wants it? We often think of ourselves as these little separate entities, these isolated egos, floating around in a world that's out there trying to grab hold of things, trying to achieve, to possess, to become. But what if I told you that the very act of wanting, of striving, of seeking is what's keeping you from having what you desire? What if the key to having it all is not in the grasping, but in the letting go? Let's try a little experiment. With your eyes closed, breathing in gently, imagine that you already are everything you want to be. You're already whole, already complete, already perfect. There's nothing missing, nothing lacking. You are the universe experiencing itself, and the universe lacks nothing. It is already everything. Therefore, you are already everything. How does that feel? Does it feel like relief? Like a weight lifted off of your shoulders? Like coming home after a long, exhausting day? You see, the issue isn't that you don't have what you want. The problem is that you've been talking to yourself in a way that convinces you that you're incomplete. You've been telling yourself, I need this or that to be happy. I need that to be successful. I need to be more, do more, have more. And so you chase, and you strive, and you struggle. And all the while, the thing you're chasing is already here. It's already you. So what if you started talking to yourself differently? What if instead of saying, I need this, you said, I am this? Instead of saying, I'm not enough, you said, I am everything. Instead of saying, I'll be happy when, you said, I am happy now. What if you stopped trying to become something and simply allowed yourself to be what you already are? This isn't about giving up on your dreams or abandoning your goals. It's about realizing that the pursuit itself is the illusion. And the moment you stop chasing, the moment you stop working so hard, the moment that you let go, you realize that what you've been chasing has been within you all along. You are the treasure you've been seeking. You are the love, the joy, the abundance, the peace. You are it. So talk to yourself like this. I am enough. I am whole. I am the universe expressing itself in this unique and beautiful way. I do not need to strive because I am already everything I desire. I thrive because I am already everything I desire. Receive a deep breath in and let it go. And one more time. Let it go. And repeat this after me. I already am everything I desire. I already am everything I desire. And so it is. So it is. My friends, if you'll use these keys, the keys to the kingdom, unlock the door to the kingdom and leave it unlocked. Just let it be accessible to you all the time. I love you. I love you. Reverend Carey, if you will, come and share with us the announcements and everything that's happening. Those who are joining online, thank you for being here. Oh, yes. Thank you for being in this space. Reverend Carey, come and rescue us.
I don't know about that. Sometimes I need rescuing. Good morning, family. What a beautiful day, right? Another beautiful Sunday here at the Catherine Hickman. I know I'm grateful, for sure. I'm grateful for the air conditioning. I know we joke about it, but it's wonderful. We only have a few announcements for the week. Our Thursday evening meditation with Reiki. We're having this every Thursday. We have moved it to the Town Apartments North Rec Center. The address is on the flyer in the lobby. It's that every Thursday at 6 p.m. This week it is facilitated by Les Julian and accompanied by his guitar. Join Emmanuel, Reverend Emmanuel, he leads our Yes program, for the Taurus Full Moon Drum Circle and Sound Bath Meditation. It's going to be on Monday, May 12th at 7 p.m. on Treasure Island Beach. If you need the parking information for that, it is on the flyer in the lobby. And then as Reverend John said, we are super close to a location for May. Once we have that fully confirmed in, I'm going to be sending out an email blast, a text message. It's going to be posted on our Facebook page as well as our website, right on the main page. So you'll have every opportunity to see exactly where we're going to be. However, if you do not receive any correspondence from us, please reach out to me at carrie@firstunity.org, because I want to make sure you know where we are. All right, I love you guys. Thank you so much for your love and support through this transition. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. So I am very grateful for you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'll reiterate that. Thank you so much for your patience through this process. Unexpected things happen, and sometimes interruptions are wonderful, and sometimes you're just like, well, oh my God. So you have been so patient through this, and I just want to say thank you for that. The ways to give, I think all of you know what the ways to give are. I want to say thank you for continuing to sustain this community financially. If there's ever been a time really for that sustenance to become expanded and more abundant, it's now. It gives us the ability to go very confidently into any negotiations. And so as you're giving, it is helping us to have that pad and, again, our ability for our real estate committee for sure to go in and negotiate these deals. So thank you for that, for continuing to give. As we start to exit, I believe we will have the donation boxes out there. Please drop in your offering today. I had something else, and I can't remember what it was, so it must not have been that important. I'm going to ask you if you will to stand then. And Acapulco, we're going to do our peace song and our prayer of protection. And I'm going to come down there, if that's okay. I'm going to come down and hold your hands. I know that starts to affect our camera folks, but Jeff's a pro. Hey, come together over me. Dun, dun, dun. All right, let's do our peace song together. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. Now there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Now there is peace on earth. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Now there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me. And our prayer of protection together, the light of God surrounds us. I am the light. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I love you, family. Make it a great Sunday.